Welcome to the Building Design Primetime Podcast, focused on providing valuable information for anyone looking to undertake a new build or extension project. We'll share our tips, tricks and stories from a building designer's perspective.
Welcome to the Building Design Primetime Podcast. I'm your host, Amelia, and once again, we're joined by Frank Geskis.
Hey, Amelia. How's things?
Oh, look, pretty good. We've been talking about food for the last 5 minutes,
One
there's
of the guys
that.
celebrated their birthday and they brought tiramisu in.
It was pretty good.
It was so good.
It was so good.
They shouldn't do that.
Why not?
Not in the afternoon.
Yeah, but it's given us the zing that we needed to get in to do this podcast this afternoon.
Yes, it has. So we celebrate birthdays in the office and you got to bring cake or whatever you like. I like to bring savouries.
Yes, Frank does very nice sausage rolls, I have to say.
Yes, I do enjoy making those, but everyone brings cakes or donuts or whatever they like in to share with the team.
It's very nice.
Yes. Not good for the waistline.
Nah, minor detail.
Minor detail. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So, what are we on to today?
Well, I thought we'd have a chat about what the hardest stage of designing or building a house is. And I thought it would be kind of cool to look at the different perspectives on that, you know, from a customer's perspective, from a builder's perspective.
Sure.
What do you think is the hardest part?
Well, I think the hardest parts is when planning hasn't been done, or choices have been made, or lack of preparation, because it makes the whole process really hard.
Well, it delays
slow
everything.
and cost overruns.
Yes.
So you underestimate, unless you don't know how much something is going to cost in your house, unless you get it priced. But if you haven't chosen your floor coverings or the vinyl or the tiles, and that just builders allowed X amount of dollars for it, but you're not going to get the one that you want. So you're going to be disappointed. A, it costs too much. B, you get a cheaper tile that you weren't expecting.
Yes.
Unless you go through the process of choosing exactly what you want. Now, then you're going to have regret.
Yes.
And you'll always have that every time you look at it in the house. You know, and that's disappointing.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, my wife still has a go at me about our front door that I chose. So I'm still wearing that 21 years later.
Isn't there always a certain level of trade-off, though?
Not with that one.
Not with that one. Righto.
No.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, very much so.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Next house, she's choosing the door.
Okay.
Yep.
And I believe she did all of the interior selections. Is that right?
Yeah, that's done, and all the products and appliances. Yeah, and this is what I'm saying is, and this takes so much time, getting all these choices right well before.
So from a customer perspective, you think the selections is the hardest part of it?
I believe it is.
Okay.
Because if you mess it up, it gets hard later, because if you get what happens if there's a delay in your build because you haven't chosen something, or you have chosen something and it's got to come from Kathmandu,
Yeah.
and it takes time to get here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because there's lots of cool stuff that's available, but sometimes it's not in the country. And I tell you what, Australia's a big country, and it's hard to get it sometimes, and
can
getting
be.
it across the country. So then you've got frustrating delays, and when you got delays, costs go up. Just fact.
Yes.
So any time delays can cause problems, but it's about the chain of sequence through the build.
Yes.
You can't put the kitchen in unless the plastering's done.
It definitely makes it a lot easier once
you
you've...
need the electrical roughing.
Yes.
In some cases, you need, depending on the type of flooring, you need the flooring in.
Yes.
In some cases, you need the toe base in before the flooring, depending on the type of how it's done.
But imagine if you have picked all of those selections even before you've started building.
Well, that's how it should be done.
That's how, but how many times does that not happen?
Oh, I see it all the time.
Yeah.
I've even seen it where the builder goes, what powder coating colour do you want for your windows? Oh, I haven't chosen it yet. I need to order it tomorrow.
Yes.
To stick with his time frame. So this is also big communication. And you get misunderstanding. Because it hasn't been done, misunderstanding between homeowners and contractors can lead to, put it nicely, a shit fight, and dissatisfaction with timeframes, But and then there's so much that the builder can't control.
Well, what if a product is on back order?
It's on back order. They ran out of supply.
Yeah.
Or it's not available anymore.
Yes.
If you get one or two of those, it's okay. You got to go select something else, okay? You should always have a backup thought there too. But also, if you don't have this stuff clear in the contract, on the drawings or in a specification or whatever it may be, and that's clearly in the agreement, clearly in the contract, it has to be fulfilled or like. It's crucial to have you and the builder in alignment with all this. But what about if you're doing an extension or a reno and then you choose to live in it?
Yeah, that's a good point.
This one's even more tricky because you're in each other's pockets and you've got to have a fair bit of grace, I reckon, in this because of the noise, the dust, access. You know, maybe it's better to move somewhere else, but it's hard to get a rental, let's be honest, in a lot of places, and you avoid these inconveniences, but your budget may not even go there.
I was going to say the affordability alone can be really challenging.
Hey, I've been a home renovator before and living in my own building mess. That was, you know, you're cleaning up every day and you still got dust everywhere,
Yes.
whether you like it or not. And builders start earlier than what the average bunny does, so, you know, you've got to get up early to go with it too.
Yes.
Okay, and you've got kids running around. But one thing you've got to be really aware, if you don't choose your selections, all the products and everything you need, so it's clear, you've got to rush it, you're going to get decision fatigue. Too many choices required to be done in a very small space of time and you'll get complete overwhelm, I'll guarantee you.
Yes.
You want to enjoy this process. It's fun.
Yes.
You know, choose your carpet, choose your wall lights. What ceiling lights you're going to run.
And that's where I believe interior designers can be really, really valuable,
100%.
especially if you find that process overwhelming.
Yep.
Making sure it all matches and...
They may not even come up with all the ideas, but they can be a great sounding board.
Yeah.
Because you know, this thing may look like rubbish with that. But individually, they look fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
So they are worth their weight in gold. I highly recommend using one. And if you don't get your decisions done in a timely fashion, again, as I said before, delays.
Yes.
Now, if you've got delays, then the build, you know, you can't go crook with the builder for the delay of the build. And don't bother trying to change the time frame with the builder. Hey, you've got it lined up for January to move in. Hey, I want to be in by Christmas now. Ain't gonna happen.
Not going to happen.
Not gonna happen. It will always go over because there's always weird stuff that happens. You know, like some of the last things that go in is like shower screens. And I was just sharing a story with someone I know, and they had the shower screens turn up and they were the wrong size. And, you know, they're specially made glass components, so they had to go get them done. They got it lickety-split. They'll be done in a week.
But that prevented them moving in ultimately.
Yeah, but the flooring couldn't be completed.
Yeah, so it affected the other trades, yeah.
Or another case where when you do a contractor's clean, you know, clean out a house that's just been completed or renovation. It's a tough clean. You can imagine there's dust everywhere, you wouldn't believe. So you kind of like doing it 2 or 3 times to make sure there's no dust left.
Yes.
And that's hard work. What happens if they don't turn up on time or they've had an emergency or they're sick? Bang, you're out delay.
Exactly.
You know, and we all get crook in our own jobs and we can't turn up. So there is an emotional and mental strain with all this, you know, and you're the consumer. Imagine what it's like for a builder that's trying to organise all this.
Oh, look, that's the other end of the scale, isn't it?
Yeah.
What affects them and what's the hardest part of building the thing?
Yeah, exactly right. And we'll talk about that a bit more, you know, because I've seen lots of delays happen. You know, the worst delays are when someone changes their mind.
Yes.
Expecting them still to be able to finish in the same time frame. And that's where it goes really bad, really ugly, and customers don't want to listen to the builder, don't care, I still want to move in this state. But since you changed your mind on something, I've got to wait, I've got to get this product, I cannot get it. It's a more complicated install. That's a thing a lot of people don't realise. Certain things are harder to install, certain products. So you've got to allow that. You've got to listen to the builders and their subbies and their contractors because it may be not as easy as you think. Soon as something is delayed, right, for argument's sake, the joiner was all lined up, but then something's changed the flooring. Well, the joiner can't come in and install until the flooring's down.
Yes.
You know, that's not in every case. And Well, he's already booked in, but he's got another dozen kitchens he's got to put in.
So that's put him behind?
Well, put him off, put it off, so he goes to another job, but
Yes.
they may not be ready.
Yes.
Okay, but then the painter had to come in to put one coat of paint on before they put that in. You know, all this knock-on effect from one trade. If you make a change, that's what will happen.
And I guess the other end of it too you've got to consider is you may have to go back through planning for an amendment.
Yeah, I've had it on a window, would you believe? Want to change a window?
That's the thing. It could be as simple as a window.
Yep, can be as simple as a window. Change the size of your deck
Yes.
because you're closer to the boundary, and then you got to put a screen up.
There you
For
go.
a discretionary applications in Tasmania, 6 weeks. Thanks for coming. So be very careful on these things. Where I see a lot of this clash with builders and owners is the lack of planning or the changing of mind. Variations.
Yes.
So if you get a variation in your build, be prepared for a variation in time.
Yes.
Because you just imagine how many different things has to go in a house, and if they don't go in the right order, all goes, all bets are off.
Yes.
So that's where it's got to be very clear for the builder what he's doing. So don't leave it to the last minute. Lights are a classic for the Sparky to finish off, not getting the right light fittings, or you've chosen one that are actually not suitable. You don't know that sometimes.
Yeah, true.
But also allow for a contingency. Allow between 10-20%. I say 10% for new build, 20% for renos and extensions, because you're always going to find some stuff that ain't right in the house that needs fixing.
Yes.
Rotting floor, mould on the wall frames, dodgy lintels, previous works, all that type of stuff. Yeah. Regulation and permits.
Yes.
Before we even start the build, sometimes there's confusion how long this takes, and some of the challenges if you're in a real tricky area with certain zoning requirements. You could have a flood overlay, you could have cute furry animal overlay, the flora and fauna overlay, bushfire, and all these things that you don't realise takes a lot more time, and it can take longer to get your permits.
It can, yeah.
But this is exactly the right time to go do all your selections. Go shopping.
Yes. And it should be fun.
Exactly. And you've got the time to do that. I highly recommend it. But so many people don't do it. Because even if they do it and the builder goes, well, that's expensive, you write down your own costs to work out your own budget. We've got spreadsheets that can help people do this. It's funny how many people don't take it up.
Really?
I cannot, to the point I don't bother offering it half the time anymore because no one's really interested. And it drives me mad because all the builder wants to do is build it as long as he knows exactly what he has to put in there. And while you're doing the design phase, that's the perfect time to do it.
Oh, it makes total sense.
So, because you're all excited about the design. And if you're working with the interior person, and especially after planning, bang, you should be tearing into that. So then you've got your clear decisions. Or if you're indecisive, you've still got time up your sleeve
Yes.
to get it right. So you need to itemise all these things. So you've also, as a homeowner, have realistic expectations. If the builder can build your house in 5 months, allow 7.
Yes.
Now, this is really challenging if you are in a rental or you're staying at your parents' or staying at friends' place or crashing off and driving each other mental. You want it done as quickly as possible because you want to get out of there as quickly as possible. One, it's cost you money or costing you a relationship. Either way, not pretty. So this is also real clear communication with the builders too. They have to finish by a certain date, but you need to have a buffer in there for the weather, for selections. Something stuffs up on site, you might have a workplace safety accident, just hope you don't, but it does happen. One contractor doesn't turn up, he's had a heart attack, whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing ever goes smoothly. So that means managing your own expectation in your life around that. And I know of one case where they were ready to move in, there was a delay with the concreting, and there was a weather delay to get all the driveways in, and they wanted all that in, ready to go because of the type of site it was. They had to get accommodation just for a week.
Yes.
All the stuff's in the house, but they couldn't move in, but they had to just stay somewhere for a week, and there were some friends that they could stay with, so that was okay. But it makes life interesting. It's a big sacrifice for the friends too. You got good friends that will do that for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, true.
It's also worth having checklists for yourself through this, and we're going to put something together that we're going to share on our website, so you can just download for free.
We are?
Yeah, didn't I tell you that?
Oh, no.
Oh, come on. Everyone needs a checklist. Everyone loves a checklist.
Yes, everyone needs a checklist. I will create one.
Okay, thank you. That was nice of you to offer. But I think everyone will need that.
I think you're right. Yeah, it definitely helps.
Okay, because we've already got a document on there, how to choose your builder.
Yes, we do.
Very important process.
Yes.
But why shouldn't you have one to go check what you need to go choose?
Yeah, that makes total sense.
We can give them our spreadsheet as well if they want.
Yeah.
Download the spreadsheet.
Yep.
So go checking, it's perfect, but you can expand on it as you like. So you go find what you're putting in, what type of skirting, how much is it? You can put a door handle in there. You go, right, it's this model number, how much does it cost? Bang. Print it off, give it to the builder. So managing the cash flow. This is a pearl of making sure the bank pays on time.
I didn't know that was an issue.
Can be.
Really?
Oh, I've heard some funny stuff. And
surely it's all pre-approved and it should be.
Yeah, it is, but
fine.
some financial institutions are very strange on how they approve and pay. But also, what is termed a lock-up stage? And there's a bit of difference in thinking there too.
Yes.
I personally like the idea, and the contracts don't allow this, every month there is a claim made every month and the builder gets paid monthly. Because he runs on 30-day accounts, so why wouldn't you do it on a monthly basis, virtually 30-day accounts?
For cash flow, it makes sense.
For cash flow, it makes perfect sense. But someone's also got to be able to verify what they've done.
Yes.
And I think that's not an unreasonable thing. Someone double checks it, and not the owner. It has to be a professional.
Yeah, well, an owner's probably not going to know what to check, are they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So why would they? Yep. So also one thing you've got to consider, if you're doing something really specky, big, very cool, there's a balance of quality, cost and speed. So if you want something really cool, or you've got a herringbone flooring that's laid by hand, or some real intricate plastering and stuff like that, this stuff takes time to do really well.
It's a lot of manual labour for that.
Stonework or certain renders or burnished floor or polished concrete floor. To do it really well takes time, and you pay for that. So be prepared. So you need to look at the quality, cost, time triangle. What are you prepared to do? Because also when you do a polished floor, let's just say a burnished or polished, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can do the concrete. It then has to be protected for the life of the build till they hand over, right?
Yes.
So they've got to put a lining all over the flooring, because it's like arse about. You've got your finished flooring before you finish the house.
Yes.
Yet in most cases, you finish the house and the flooring's the last thing to go.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So then you're paying for it to be protected, and there's a chance it still could get damaged.
Yes.
And you got to,
because it's exposed to the elements.
Oh,
generally,
not
is
just
it?
the
Or
element. No, one's ever someone walks in and they've got a pebble stuck in their boot.
oh, true, and then
scratch
drag it through the house.
And
yeah.
this is a classic problem with waterproofing. I've heard this before. They walk in, they've got gravel on their boots, and they damage the waterproofing because it's so sensitive.
Yes.
You know what the dumbest things I've ever heard of that builders have had to fix? Because a tradie turns up, walks into the kitchen, big stone top, grabs his toolbox, shoves it on top of the brand new stone top and scratches it.
Oh.
I mean, beyond comprehension how dumb that is.
Yeah.
If you're a professional tradesperson, you don't do that.
No.
So anyway, this is the reality of people that don't think sometimes, and they've had a brain snap.
Yes.
So this stuff happens.
It does. Yep, we're human.
I've seen splashbacks scratched and damaged.
Really?
Right. Yep. And what do you got to do? You can't fix it. You got to pull it all out again
Yes.
without damaging any other joinery or tops.
Yes.
And the builder does that. This is what the builder does for you to make sure that the final finish is spot on.
Well, a good builder will do.
And most of them will, to be fair,
Yeah.
because they can't hand that over. Unlike some of the other rubbish we've seen on Instagram with our friend up in the building surveyors and inspectors checking out some really bodgy building. Yeah.
Yes.
Another challenge the builders have, so this is just to educate mums and dads on other challenges they have, is the skilled labour shortage, limited availability of tradespeople. That's been real in the last 3 to 4 years. So they have to inform and the realities of the time frame, and this is good communication. So maintaining safety and compliance, the builder has to do this, and you can't go walking on the site willy-nilly.
Oh, definitely not.
And a lot of people don't realise that. You cannot go in there. So this is the sign of a really good, well-organised builder, and someone's just set off the alarm in the building. You've got to be kidding me. Where was I? I was so rudely interrupted by someone messing up with the alarm.
Oh, I'm going to have to concentrate when I edit this one.
Yeah. The role, but you want to have a well-organised builder, and you can certainly see that with certain builders. They're great tradies, but not all of them are good organisers.
Yes.
You know, couldn't organise their own lunch house, some of them. But when you've got someone who's really well organised, they reduce the project stress significantly. They're like 10 steps ahead.
Yes.
So clear scheduling, good communication, that's another good key. Proactive project management reduces surprises, and that's that. All the tradies know what they're doing when they're coming on site. Lots of communication with where everyone is at with everything. And they also identify all the skilled sub-consultants and tradies that they need.
Yes. And
they have good workarounds when there's a problem.
Well, problem solving is a big one, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
So, and you can see it on past projects, and that's what we say in our handout online is like, talk to their previous customers, you know, they're good communicators. Yeah. So, takeaways.
Yeah.
It's my turn to say it.
Okay.
Key takeaways. And this is the same bloody thing we say every time.
We bang on about it.
Preparation.
Do your research.
But preparation is critical. Plan thoroughly, budget realistically, decide early.
Oh, can't stress that enough. Don't leave it to the last minute.
And now you're going to build this checklist and you're going to put the spreadsheet on there.
Yes.
Online.
Yes.
Surprise.
Just add it to my list of things to do.
Yeah. Mate, the communication between the owner and the builder is really, really clear. Don't change your mind. Whatever you do.
After you've already gone through planning.
I've got to admit, I did it.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I felt like a goose. It just looked like crap. And so it was, we just got it fixed, and I had to pay a little bit extra for it, but I was happy with the result. And it wasn't a big thing. It was just prior to them installing some tiles. So it just didn't look right. And he actually said so too. So understand the builder's perspective, towards his challenges. Like if it's been raining for weeks, he can't control the weather.
He can't, no.
Some of the tradespeople, everyone has stuff going on in their lives too, but that's why a good tradie can work around that, or they've got solutions, or the vanities haven't turned up because they were custom-made vanities on time, so the tiler has to keep going. They tile the whole walls, and then they find an alternative way to mount the vanity onto the wall.
Yes.
The beauty of the hung vanities nowadays is, like, compared to the ones that used to sit on the floor,
yes,
we would have slowed everything up, but now we hang them off the wall. It's pretty easy, just tile behind it.
Yeah,
if you get a delay. There's always unexpected, always have a contingency plan, and always have a contingency in your budget.
Yes.
And emotional support.
That's one that I wouldn't have thought of, but it makes sense.
If you're renovating, you need emotional support.
Oh, yeah.
Or a good whiskey collection. Take your pick. Or gin, whatever. Because they're more emotionally demanding, renos, extensions, because they're in your space if you're still there, or they're working out the back. The best type are the ones where you just got to crack a hole through the wall for a doorway or something like that, so they can keep building off the back or back of the house or the front of the house, whatever it may be. But emotional support, because it can be stressful.
And I mean, for extensions and renos and stuff, there's the potential for more things that can be unexpected and go wrong and those sort of things.
That's it. And a good builder can show you and explain it to you, and they can't foresee this stuff, So emotional support, and then if you're lucky enough to have a partner, hopefully you all support each other going through it.
Yes.
Because it can be tough. So we encourage everyone to ask us some questions, share their experiences. That'd be cool. Make some comments.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Feel free to go on our website, give us a week for Amelia to build some stuff for us with a check sheet in our resource pages. And there's some other great tips in our other podcasts as well if you're going to go through this, but plan, prepare.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear if anyone else disagrees with us. Do they have a stage in the building and design process that they found really challenging? What was it?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah, well, it'd be really interesting to know because everyone's got different experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome.
What a nice place to wrap up. We might stop right there.
Okay.
Thanks for listening to the Building Design Primetime Podcast.
Catch us later.
You're listening to the Building Design Primetime Podcast.